Madeline Foreman always loved to sing. As a teenager, she had this glorious, silky smooth voice, gorgeous tone, 2.5 octave range, and the kind of creative artistry that made people swoon. She and her friends used to listen to the greats: Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, Judy Garland. They would listen and sing their hearts out, dreaming of a day when they could take the stage. And Madeline did just that every opportunity she had. She sang at bar mitzvahs and weddings. She was just ready to take her place on the stage. In high school, she ditched class one day to compete in an adult talent competition at the Adams Theater in Newark, New Jersey. She won hands down. On her way out, comedian Joey Adams told her that she had an incredible voice and should pursue it. He ought to know. He was in show business. That dream was tempting, so tempting. But Madeline's family was struggling. There were 7 of them living in a tiny apartment with no heat. Her father sold bananas on the street out of a cart, barely making enough to scrape by. Madeline knew she had the raw talent to succeed in the music world, but she also knew that her family needed her. So she chose to put those dreams aside and took a job as a secretary. She kept singing, though. In 1946, she discovered the Hertz Studio in Newark, where anyone could walk in and pay a small fee to record a song with their in-house band. She loved that studio and went there as often as she could. It was pure bliss. She would take that microphone in her hand and sway, listening to the band as they rocked out. And she would sing her heart out. And at the end of each recording session, the sound engineer would hand her a 78 RPM record of her very own. And she would take that record and hold it and bring it home as her treasure. 7 years later, Madeline married her beloved Joseph. At that point, her family was on more stable footing, and now she had a husband who could support her in a way she'd never been supported before. She could have pursued her musical career then, but Madeline wanted to build a family. She chose to become a mother and a homemaker, and she poured all of her creative energy into building the home that would sustain her and Joseph and their 2 beautiful children for life. When the New York Times recently profiled her story, the article described her as a Hollywood saga gone awry. Here was this young woman born into a challenging situation through adversity, who had this incredible voice, who was sucked into secretarial work, whose talents were squandered in the home. What a waste! What a loss! Only imagine what could have been. Why? Why do we look at this woman and think, oh, what could have been? Why don't we look at her and say, wow, what an incredible woman. She loved her family so much. She chose to do everything she could to support them. What a legacy. Wow. She loved music so much. That means she must have loved being a mother even more. That means she must have loved her family even more. Why is it that because she did not pursue her talent professionally, we think that's somehow lesser, somehow inferior, somehow a failure, or that somehow the world came in and prevented her from doing what she wanted? The truth is, each one of us has more talent, more interests, more opportunities than we could ever pursue. The art of life is to be choosy, to choose when to say yes, when to open into opportunities, when to pursue dreams, and when to say, no, thank you. I'm really happy with what I've got going. I'm really happy here. I love that idea, but no thanks. Not right now. I have a dear friend who likes to say, you can do anything you want, but you can't do everything. We can do anything we want, but we can't do everything. And when we try, it can make us feel crazy. When I talk to young moms, I often hear the same refrain. I'm back at work. When I'm in the office, I can't feel like I can get anything done. I'm trying, I'm doing everything I can, but I just can't seem to keep up, and I feel guilty. I feel like I should be home with my kids, but when I'm home with my kids, I feel guilty. I feel like I should be doing more work. I should be keeping up, and I can't. I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to keep up with all the people that I love and all the things that I have to do, and I just don't feel like I can do anything right. I hear that same sentiment from the teens I work with. These teens are trying to learn, trying to go to school and get good grades, trying to get good test scores, trying to make sure their resumes are full enough, that they're doing all the right things, all while preserving and maintaining a blossoming social life. And there's no way to do everything perfectly, and yet they feel like they have to, that if they don't do every single thing, they will not succeed in life. We're languishing. That's what Adam Grant says. He wrote this beautiful piece in the Times where he talks about how all of us are languishing. Languishing because our phones are beeping and pinging and buzzing, because we're constantly interrupted with notifications about what we could and should be attending to. And it's crazy making because we can barely focus on what's in front of us while we're trying to focus on what we should be doing outside. Adam Grant's answer to languishing is flow. He says, turn off your notifications. Turn off the pinging and the ringing and the buzzing, and focus in on a task that you can complete. Feel that satisfaction of presence, of accomplishment. That's certainly the answer of Jewish tradition. We are taught, ha'osek b'mitzvah patur min ha'mitzvah. One who's already doing a mitzvah is exempt from others. The Gemara gives the example of a groom on his wedding night. We're all obligated to say the Shema at night, but a bridegroom on his wedding night is already engaged in the mitzvah of being with his bride. So he's exempt. He doesn't have to say Shema. You might have thought tradition would have said you've got to do more, you've got to be more. It's not enough to be with your bride, you have to be with your bride saying Shema, say it together, figure out a way to juggle, to do more, to be more. But no. Our tradition prizes focus. Our tradition prizes presence. We can do anything we want, but we cannot do everything. We shouldn't try. Which brings me back to Madeline Foreman. During the pandemic, Madeline and her husband Joseph were cleaning out closets and organizing when she came across a box of records. She called her 61-year-old son, who lives 10 minutes away, with excitement. "You've got to come over. You've got to listen to this. I found my records." They were glorious, just as beautiful as she'd remembered. A family member posted one of the tunes on Facebook, and it went viral. Hundreds of comments from all over the world. And not just ordinary people, Grammy Award winners, Academy Award winners, musical producers, musicians writing in, "Oh my God, stunning, beautiful, the musicianship, the artistry, just incredible." As one of her family members described, it's as if you had a baseball player from the minor leagues who realizes at some point, "I could have been in the major leagues." For Madeline, those records told a story of music that she loved, music that she loves. As she looks back on her life, she knows she could have made different choices. She knows she could have had a different path. But she has no regrets. She sang the song she wanted to sing, the song that filled her with joy. As Robert Frost famously wrote, "Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference."